welcome to May 9th meeting here at the Tech Hustle. My name is Bobby Dorless, and we have a few of our community members on the line. It looks like Raymond, don't call him Ray Ray's on the line. Say what's up, Raymond. Raymond, say what's up.
Hey, hey, what's up, everybody?
How about you, D Hustle? Say what's up, player.
Yo, what's going on?
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. So we are the Tech Hustle, and we have a few slides that we're going to go through real quick, and then we have a tech talk that we're going to be talking about one of our GitHub repositories where we're teaching a skill. And I definitely want to encourage you all to hang out, follow along, and definitely get your questions ready. If you're catching it live, thank you so much for being here. If you catch it afterwards, definitely you're finding us on YouTube, so drop your questions on the YouTube comments, and we'll definitely follow up. Now, who am I? My name is Bobby Dorless. My friends actually call me Bobby D, and I am an engineer. I actually like to label myself as a conscious engineer at this time. I'm very proficient in multiple programming languages. Systems engineering is where I'm mostly worked at. But I've also automated myself out of a job being a site reliability engineer for a number of companies. If you want to find out more about me, come follow along. I'm not going to spend too much talking about my journey because I really want to talk about our community. So, what is the Tech Hustle? The Tech Hustle, we are on a mission to transform the landscape of tech by building a community and providing a space for definitely those that are underrepresented to upskill, level up, and continuing to learn. We are an AI first company that has a really cool AI educator called Jules AI that if you haven't seen her in works, definitely check out our last community meeting and definitely want to encourage you all to get signed up on our premium account, our premium services, so you can get access to our AI. But overall, our community is really focused on providing a place for you to develop, become successful in your roles and responsibilities as engineers. And definitely, we're really interested in creating a community. This slide right here really depicts the direction that we're going in. We do travel the country. We've been around a few places recording our podcasts and definitely supporting community events. I believe about 2 months ago, we were up in Atlanta. Big shout outs to NSBE conference that we attended, the National Society for Black Engineering Conference, but also the Cloud Conference that was hosted by the ATL Cloud group over there. Definitely getting a great conversation going on. If you're interested in us pulling up to your city or interested in us speaking at your organization, college, or any means of such, holla at us. We're always looking for opportunities to spread this knowledge and definitely work on building our community. So definitely look forward to it. Now, in terms of where you can hang out with us in our community, we have a really vibrant community that's on a platform called School. If you go to our website, thetechhustle.com, you will quickly get access to where our community is. As soon as the page loads, you'll see the icon right here that says Join Community. If you click on that link, it's going to take you to our School platform. And definitely feel free to read through the content here, see if this is your type of vibe and content that you want to join in terms of joining our community. But definitely want to encourage you to check it out. Our community, like I said, is very vibrant. We always have some type of activity going on, conversation-wise, some educational purposes. And actually, there goes Jules AI making an appearance here in our community too. So check out her post. We got D Hustle always holding it down. And then we got other community members jumping in the conversation. And look like Raymond posted something really cool. Is like, will AI take your job? It looks like there's a website that you can check out to get some more details about your role, your job, and see if AI could be affected by it. So definitely come and join our community. Like I said, it's very active, very vibrant. And while you're here, you can also get access to our courses and also materials in general that we offer in our community, from tech interview handbook, IT fundamentals, to learning some high-level skills like Linux administration, cloud, and Python. And one of these three, we're actually going to talk a little bit more later in the afternoon or in our session this afternoon in the tech section. There is a calendar section here that you can definitely catch all the events that we have going on throughout the week. This is our weekly tech meeting or weekly meetup at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Definitely want to encourage you all to let your friends know, let your colleagues know, or anybody in your group or peer groups that are interested in leveling up in tech. We're always online every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Come and holler at us. But also, we will be having new events that pop up on the calendar. So definitely want to get you to subscribe so you can follow along. There is a leaderboard section in our community. This is more or less for those that are, really need that push and also gamifying, your interactions online. So I definitely want to encourage you all to check it out. You can see some of our community members have definitely been active for the past 7 days, 30 days, and overall. And then you can also see how you can level up on points. There's this section down here right under your name, where if you click that question box there, it'll tell you how you get more points. TLDR is the more active you are, the more engaging you are with content, and definitely utilizing the platform, the more points you'll get to be able to level up. So definitely come and holler at us. And again, if you check out our About page, you can get some more information. I did mention about our premium community offering. So definitely check that out here on our website. You'll see the button here. If you click on join our premium services, you'll get some more details about what our premium services, our monthly costs, and definitely what you will get. And there's a special prize also, well, not a prize, but a special addition to your Community Plus membership is access to our AI, which is Jules AI. And like I said, if you didn't hear or know about Jules, she's always posting in our community, which we have a recent post on her talking about some URL stuff. But then you'll have direct access to this customized AI to help you develop, because she is an AI educator and community assistant. So definitely want to encourage you to check out our premium services. And yeah, for sure, that's our community. Next up, I did not include it in the slide here, but I also want to give wow, what's going on with my slides here? Sorry about that. A big shout out to our podcast. So if you didn't know, here at the Tech Hustle, we run a weekly podcast. And Raymond, don't call him Ray, like to call us or say us #1 syndicated podcast around the world. I don't know if we're really syndicated, but big shout outs to you, Raymond. Raymond and D Hustle are both the co-host of our podcast, which is called the Tech Hustle Podcast. We have a few different segments. One, Backstage with Bobby D, which I've been traveling the country, like I said, visiting and talking to a few of my peers in the industry. I believe we have a one that's coming out today or tomorrow that I definitely encourage you all to check out. And then we have our season 3 recordings that will definitely dive into how we more or less enjoy having conversations about AI, about tech, Raymond's Nuggets. He always has some really good sites to check out, and definitely current events and all things tech from D Hustle is always enjoyable. We do have all of our episodes from season number 2. So if you want to check out our audio only, definitely check that out. And then if I keep scrolling down a little bit more, you'll see all of our community meetings that we've been having. And definitely want to encourage you to check out our past recordings of our community meetings, because we've had some really cool gems drop. If you're interested in, seeing some more content from me featured on either a few different podcasts, and then also a public speaking, because if you didn't know, I'm a professional speaker and definitely have traveled the world speaking about my journey in tech. I want to encourage you to check out these featured appearances that I've had throughout the year. And then last but not least, if you're really looking for some free workshops and definitely leveling up on especially technical interviewing, we have a playlist here of some recordings that I've done with a few other organizations, but definitely want to encourage you to check it out. And I know you noticed and seen that word free, because it definitely is free on YouTube. It looks like it's about 1 hour and 15 minutes. I guarantee the content is fire, and you'll be leveling up on your preparation for technical interviewing. So that is our YouTube page. And Raymond, don't you always have something to say if somebody doesn't subscribe? What do you have to say? See if he comes on.
Yes. Basically, if you don't like or subscribe, you are a hater. Liking the podcast doesn't cost you a thing. Just if you don't want to subscribe, fine, but at least like our page and some of our episodes.
For sure. Thank you so much, Raymond, for that insights. We definitely want to encourage you to follow along and definitely supporting us in this journey. Now, another medium that is very, very important to us is our newsletter. It is also on our website. So if you go to our website, and you'll see over here on the right-hand side, it says subscribe to our newsletter. If you click that button, it's going to bring you to our newsletter. You definitely want to, get your name to pop out in there. So definitely, if you're not already subscribed, put your email there so you can get the message as soon as they arrive. And then feel free to scroll through and check out all of our newsletters. The most recent one we published was for April, so we do monthly. April was a great month for us, talking about, the hustle overall, some really good content around backstage with Bobby D, but also all of the really cool content that we've published during our podcast. We definitely like to reiterate most of those things in our newsletter. Here goes, a slide from my talk that I did in Atlanta, some other places that we'll be attending throughout the year. So if you're in any of these cities, holla at us, let us know. And definitely we're interested in connecting and pulling up. So definitely get your I guess calendar ready for us to pull up to your city. And then we have some insights into recording, but also some really cool tech stuff, because we have this really cool GitHub repository, which we'll talk about GitHub in a little bit. But more specifically, the community is working on a project called Launchpad to Data Engineering, and definitely want to encourage you to check that out. It's all mentioned here in the newsletter, and then the links to the articles. And then we got some Raymond's Nuggets with some really cool links there. D Hustle with our news and current events, all things tech. And then definitely big shout outs to our sponsors. And obviously you can see it's a very vibrant live newsletter. And like I said, we publish on a monthly basis the last Thursday of every month, and definitely want to encourage you all to follow along. So that's our podcast, our newsletter, and then obviously our school community. And you can get all of this on our main website, thetechhustle.com. And yeah, feel free to check us out, scroll through, you can get some more content. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention our podcast is on all platforms. Let me see if I click on this button here. You'll see that we're on all podcast platforms, so you should definitely be able to find us on any platform that you listen to podcasts. So definitely click that button right there to get the list of all of them. And if you scroll down, there's some more intro about our community. And then we also have some courses that we're very, very excited about, from IT fundamentals to DevOps engineering, software engineering, and cloud engineering. And definitely check them out. Click on some of these buttons around, and then you can get some more context around what we are working on and how we can assist you in leveling up or upskilling in your career. All right, so let's go back to our slides here. This is an opportunity for question and answers. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat here. If you are recording or watching this afterwards on YouTube, feel free to drop them in the YouTube comments below. But yeah, I'm gonna give, maybe 30 seconds or so to see if anybody on the floor, anybody that's attending live wants to ask a question. Any questions?
Or are you going to start doing demos in the future?
What do you mean by demos?
Like, I don't know, demonstration of just how to do something.
Yeah, we're actually gonna have
Maybe.
a demo after the questions here.
Okay. All right.
And I guess also to add to that, thanks a lot, Raymond, for that question, is if you are a community member and you want to showcase a project you're working on, or want to talk about something that's interesting to you, a new tech that you found, a new library, a new programming language, a new operating system, if there's anything that you feel would provide value to our community, we definitely want to encourage you to pull up. Like I said, we have, after, I go through these slides of introduction, a little section afterwards where we usually talk about tech, doing some show and tell and demonstration, and definitely want to encourage you to pull up. So definitely feel free. All right, I think we're gonna jump right into that next section here. Raymond said, "I can't wait. I don't want to wait no more." All right, so in this section of our community meeting, I'm going to do a little bit of a demo, checking out a really cool repository that we have available to everyone that is open source, but I don't know if everybody know it's there. Now, the thing that I really want to emphasize with all of our community members is one of the cool places that you can get educated and learn different skill sets is here at the Tech Hustle. We have some internal coursework around learning, Linux, learning the operating system, learning cloud, learning Python, but also around fundamentals around IT, and also preparing for technical interview. But this specific topic, learning Python, what we've done here in our community is actually open sourced a whole ebook online for you to get access to learning Python and developing skills around it. So the reason why I wanted to showcase this today is Last week, we talked about Jules AI and Jules being an AI ability to teach and help you develop. Also, I believe maybe two community members ago or two community meetings ago, we did a presentation on Launchpad to Data Engineering, which is also another open source repository. And I do feel like a lot of our community members felt like there was still a skills gap that needs to be closed, in the sense, even though they're interested in, contributing and supporting and developing here in the Tech Hustle, is that there's still some members that are trying to learn, Python, and also just trying to get started in learning Python so that they can feel comfortable enough to make those contributions. So what we've done is we published a repository called Learn Python, and I'm going to go through the process of checking out the code, but also walking through some of the examples, readings that we have, and also some exercises really quickly to showcase how you can use this repository. All right, so let me get my terminal screen over on the screen here, and then we're going to go check out this repository. So there's my terminal. Hold on a second. So here goes my terminal. And actually, before we do that, let me first go to GitHub on my browser so we can at least start with that. So if you go to github.com, github.com/the Tech Hustle, hit enter. If you're part of the project itself, you'll most likely land on a page like this. But if you just go to repositories, you will see all of the repositories that we have available specifically for the Tech Hustle. The one that I was talking about earlier was this Launchpad to Data Engineering. Definitely check it out. And I'll click on it real quick, where we're actually using skills like Python and data engineering around, talking to APIs and things like that to actually work on this project. And if you're up for it and ready for it, definitely check out this repository. And I'm always waiting for some pull requests so that we can get the code base to a level where anybody can learn. But more specifically, like I said, some of our community members felt like, hey, I need to actually just learn Python to get started. So you'll notice that there's a few learn underscore skill, right? We have learn Linux, we have learn Python, we have learn cloud, we have learn command line, and then we also have some learn SREs and some other beginners and our first contribution repositories. But the ones we're going to focus mostly on the ones that are learn underscore something. So if I do a search here and I say learn underscore star, let me see if that works. Yeah, so then it pulls up all of our learn repository. And today we're actually going to be looking up learn underscore Python. Now, if you're not familiar with Python, Python is a programming language. And if you can actually go to python.org, I believe it is the main URL for Python, you can definitely get some insights into this programming language. And I always like to start off by showcasing, the source website for programming languages or ways to learn, because you're going to get a lot of books out there. You're going to get a lot of, repositories like mine, but always go to the source so you can really get some insights into what's going on with this programming language or anything that's coming in the future. And you can obviously see that they have some really cool documentation. They have communities themselves and also success stories around Python. But for me, I would say this is, if you're getting into tech or getting into programming, it's by far one of the easier programming language to learn, but also it's a very active programming language because you can do just about anything with Python. All right. Python, like I said, is a programming language. It is an interpreted programming language, not a compiled programming language. And it's very easy to read because it's phonic in the way that it's written, which we'll get some more examples. But more or less just want to encourage you to check out at least python.org's website. But this repository that we have here, you'll notice that the repository has a lot of directories from Introduction to Python Programming, Python Basic Syntax, control flows, basically doing loops, data structures, and so on and so forth. And overall, if you keep scrolling down, you'll get down to the README file, which has some more context around what this repository is all for. So you'll see right here where we have it broken down into Introduction to Python. This is what is Python, history of Python, and then you have some basic syntax and structures. This is just a README file, and we're about to check out the code. But more or less, I want to encourage you all to check it out on GitHub. But what we're going to do next is we're actually going to clone this repository. So there's this button, it's this green section here that says code, right? And inside of here, you actually want to clone the repository. And we're going to get this link right here and copy it. And now we're going to go into the terminal to actually go check out this code so I can have it locally on my computer here. All right. So let me enlarge this a little bit more here. And you all should be able to see this. So inside of my directory, one of the places that I always store my code is in a directory called dev. Some people do workspace, but I like to do dev. And you know what? We're going to actually create a directory called workspace, which is the more common way for you to actually check out code. So I did a make dir, which is making the directory called workspace. And if you see above here, I try to go into this directory and then it didn't exist. But now I'm going to run the same command again, just copy and paste it. And boom, I'm in this directory called workspace. Inside this directory, it should be empty. There should really be nothing in here. If I just do an ls, you'll see that the directory is empty. If I actually do an ls-la, we'll see that there is truly no hidden files or anything in this directory other than the previous directory and the current directory. That's what these little dots mean. This just means current directory, this means previous directory. All right. But what we really came here to do is to check out our repository or get a clone of the GitHub repository. I got to go back and get that URL. So this is the URL itself. So to actually fetch that repository, you execute the command called git. If you're not familiar with git, I'll definitely do a man on git. Git is basically your ability to track changes inside of a repository. It's very fast, it's stable, and it's a distributed version control system. If you're not familiar with it, check out our GitHub or check out our school community because Jules made a really good post about Git, and definitely you can level up on the skill set. If you're getting into engineering, I highly recommend you to be familiar with this command Git because you're going to be using it on a daily basis. But we're going to get back to actually checking out the repository. So if I do a git, let me just do a git help. Let's see if it has the right command. And if I scroll up, you'll notice that I just did the git and then the command -- help. That basically brings up any helping features that are available. And what I'm looking for is the word clone. Oh, it looks like I just passed it, right? So when you're starting to work on in an area, basically a brand new workspace, you can actually use this command right here, git help tutorial, which we're not going to do because we already know what we want to do. But the command we want to use is git clone. So we want to clone a repository into my directory, right? If this was like a brand new repository and this is the first time that we're doing some work in it, you want to do a git init, which basically creates an empty Git repository. But we're going to clone one because there's already one that's out on GitHub. All right. And then there's some other commands that I want you to be familiar with around adding, moving, restoring. Moving, add, remove, add, move, or rename, restore, or remove a file. And these are going to be commands that you use on a daily basis. So it looks like there's a git help day every day. And actually, let's run that command and see what it does. So let's just do git help every day. It says a useful minimum set of commands for everyday git. Oh, this is actually really cool. It says everyday git with 20 commands or so. So it definitely goes into details about different use case for it, different commands that you have access to. But yeah, I definitely encourage you to check that out. But we're going to get back to actually git cloning. So we're going to do git, screen will clear, git clone, and then, oh, sorry, I missed that command. Or actually, there goes the URL, git clone, and I'm going to copy this URL here and paste it right here. So what I'm saying is to go check out or go fetch a clone of this repository that's on GitHub. And the repository name is learn_Python. All right. So let me go ahead and hit enter here. And what you'll notice is that Git itself will actually do a cloning operation where it says, hey, I'm going to go fetch this learn_Python. It is a remote repository. It tells you how many objects are in there. It looks like there's about 133 total. It looks like it's compressing a few objects, and then it actually totally fetched everything into a repository here. And if I do an ls in here, you'll notice that there should be a directory called learn_Python. Come on, LS. All right, there we go. So now we have learn underscore Python. To get into that directory, you'll type the command cd and type in learn underscore Python. And if I do a ls in here, you will notice that there should be a README file and a lot of directories. Yep, so just like we saw on the user or the browser interface, you'll see all the directories here, but our main file that we want to look at is the README file. Now, if I want to look at the content in this README file, I can use the command called cat, and that's just going to print out everything in the README file. And you'll see if I scroll up a little bit, you'll see that the content is very similar to what I had open in the web browser. And I'll just bring the web browser back around so you can kind of get an understanding of what I'm talking about. So here goes the web browser. This is where we copied the URL for the GitHub repository, but you'll notice inside this viewing here, all of those same directories that we saw in the command line, the license file and then the README file. The cool thing about GitHub is that it automatically displays the README file down below. You see the README file and it says, hey, this is the README file here. But if we just click on it, you'll get some a page that loads with the actual README file. And actually there's a preview, but if you look at the code, which is what we really want to look at, you'll see that the code is very structured, similar to what we have in our command line. So let me bring up the command line. You'll notice that it's the same code there. So basically, we basically got the same content. And now we have it locally on our computer. And the cool thing about it is now that I have this code locally on my computer, I can view the contents of this repository and go check out the first chapter. So I'm going to actually do an ls here, and I'm going to cd into the first chapter that's called Introduction to Python Programming. I'm going to go into that directory, and then I'm going to view the contents of that directory. There should be markdown files in there, which looks like we have a README file. And then we have different README files for each sections of the code base or of this program itself or this ebook. So if I click on the README file, let me just say cat README file. It doesn't give you the nice graphical interface that we're getting through the browser, but I'm really just always about command line, at least learning about what it looks like on the command line, and then we can go take a look at it in the browser. But if you just look at this first topic, so we're in Learn Python, and we're in Chapter 1, Introduction to Python, and we're looking at the README file for the introduction, right? It says, hello and welcome to this new beginning. As you embark on this journey, you might feel lost and amazed at the programming language and overwhelmed with where to start. Have no fear, we are here to illuminate the path and set the foundation for your transformation into a proficient developer who can skillfully navigate between roles such as software engineer, DevOps engineer, site reliability engineer, or cloud engineer effortlessly. So this is kind of like giving you an insights into, hey, the content that we have will definitely resonate with you if you're looking to develop skills around software engineering, DevOps engineering, site reliability engineering, or cloud engineering. This course and content will definitely be very much of useful to you. Another thing that's outlined here is a pathway, and it's kind of like your pathway to mastering the beginnings and definitely giving you some insights into the different chapters and sections that you will be covering, right? And like I said, this is very much command line, but I'm going to pull it up in the browser next so you can kind of take a look at what I'm talking about. So if I go to Introduction to Python, and I click on the README file, it actually loaded it there. It goes the same content here. So it says, hello and welcome for your new beginning, and all that I mentioned before, and definitely aligns with what we saw in the command line. Just remember, the command line basically gives you the raw file, and then inside of GitHub, using Markdown, you can kind of see the more structured way of viewing it. There are different links that you can click on here to go deeper into the content. Let's see if we click on that. Oh, actually, it's supposed to be this here. It'll go into writing your first Python code called Hello World, and definitely printing that out, to getting some more history about Python, learning Python in terms of the use case for it, and definitely taking advantage of some really cool things such as different libraries. Here goes the request library, which is always very powerful to use, and definitely want to encourage you all to check it out. The last thing that I wanted to show is, let's go and see if we can run our very first Python program called Print Hello World. So we're going to go back to the terminal, and I'm going to write something really quick just to showcase the learnings from this content, but also how you can really start to level up writing Python. So I'm going to go further back up the directory structure here because I want to get back to the working space. And I'm going to create a directory called test Python. And now that I'm inside of the test Python directory, you'll see that this directory is empty. And I'm actually going to create the very first file. Now I use a IDE editor called VI. I know that some of you might be like, it's too hard to learn or it's not very pretty. I do want to encourage you to develop some skills around it, but I'm from the old school, so I kind of been using this for a very long time. So I'm going to create a Python file called run.py. So that's going to be the file itself. And one of the first things that I always do inside of this file here is I always write a comment to what I'm going to be creating. And to write a comment, you just have to do a shebang or a hash or a pound. It's depending on what you're familiar with. And I'm just going to write that we're going to print hello world for our first Python program. All right. Now, if I go ahead and save this file, now to save, you got to hit escape, :WQ exclamation point. And I know people are like, what in the world is that? VI can be a whole lesson by itself. But if we take a look inside this directory structure now, you'll notice that there should be a file called run.py. And if I want to run it, remember, it doesn't have anything in it. And if you want to look at the contents of it, you can use the cat command, and we'll say run.py, and all it should have is that comment that I put up above. See if it pops up. There it goes. And if I want to run it, I'll just type the command Python, and then I'll say the file that we run. Nothing should happen because we didn't really write any code, because whenever you put this shebang here, that means ignore everything after that line. And that's where we write our comments. But in the line below, we're going to write our very first program. So we're going to go back into this program or this file here called run.py. And I'm going to go to the end of the file, and I'm going to insert the very first command that will commit, or the very first command for this program that will print out the word hello world. So we're going to first say a variable called, oh no, we'll just do print hello world. And we're using double quotes to describe that we're actually inserting strings, hello world, and then we'll close that out. So we'll exit that, hit :WQ exclamation point for us to get out of the program. And if we look at this file, you'll notice that there should be a new line there compared to what it was before. Before there was nothing there. And now you'll see that there's the command print hello world. Now we're going to execute it. Remember before we ran it before and nothing happened, but let's go and try to do the same thing. And boom, we have print hello world. Now, I do want to take this up another notch because that's a very simple implementation. This time, what I want to do is also introduce variables. So we have a variable, or what are variables? Variables are ways that you store information inside of the computer memory, and then the computer automatically goes and gets that whenever you call it. And for that, we're going to actually create our very first variable, and we're going to call it var1. This is going to be our very first variable, and we're actually going to put in there hello world. Now, not to remove this line here, we're actually going to keep that line here, but this time, let's say that we want to, instead of, oh, I added an extra comment. So, I'm not supposed to do that. All right, let's say that we want to, instead of writing this as a string inside of print hello world, we just want to call this variable inside of print hello world. To do that, all you have to do is print colon or open bracket or open, what's this? Open, I don't know what these are called. Brackets? No, they're not brackets. Open, I don't know. They're called open. I have to look that up. The square brackets are these, curly brackets, square brackets, but what are these? We're just gonna call them brackets anyways. But if you wanted to just have the computer store the variable being hello world as a string inside this variable var, then whenever I print and I say var, it automatically is going to go fetch the string that's set for that variable. So we should get hello world, and then we should get hello world again. Let's double check. So if I close this out, and then I run the program again, Python run, you'll see that we have hello world twice. And actually it looks like I misspelled world again. Let's go and update that. Let's vi run that file, and you'll notice that this word right here is misspelled. So let me go ahead and add an L to that. Go ahead, close this out, write it again, and let's go run the program again. And boom, there we go. Hello world written twice. And if I count out run.py, you'll notice that I'm using a variable for one, and the other one I'm calling the string directly. So here goes the 2 lines of programming here. Print the word hello world, or the string hello world, and then you have print the variable number 1, var1, which has that string stored as hello world. All right. Any questions at all for this first intro into writing Python? And yeah, congratulations to everybody. We all just wrote our very first Python program. And definitely you can see how it's very close to writing English. It's very easy to understand. Variables equals string, and then that variable is going to be printed here. And then we can easily test it out. We just say Python, run that file, and we got 2 outputs the same. Above, you'll notice that I had misspelled the word hello world. I had said hello word, and then I went back and updated it so that the variable actually was stored correctly. And that's our tech demo today. All right. Well, give yourself a round of applause. You sat through that very first program, writing Python, but also you got introduced to another really cool resource that, like I said, is free and open source. You can go download this, clone this repository. And yes, I am looking for any type of pull requests. If you see any type of errors, and low key, I purposely put some errors in here so that somebody could tell me that they found an error so that we can get some more commits. But yeah, definitely check us out on GitHub. We have a few more Learn specific projects or repositories. That's the one that we just looked at was Learn Python. But if you go and check out Learn Linux, Learn Cloud, and Learn Command Line, and also learn some cool stuff about SRE, you can definitely level up. And like I said, all of these are available in the open source space. Now, if you are interested in getting some mentorship and also, some more kind of walkthrough in the code, sign up for our premium services. I remember to get access to our premium services, you go to our the Tech Hustle website, log into our premium community, and then we can definitely do some more one-on-one coaching or support and learning either a programming language or any of the repositories that we have, and then ultimately practicing getting some commits in our profile or in our GitHub repository. So that's all that I have for learning Python in our Tech Talk section. And this is a chance for you all to have, if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in, but also scan the barcode and let your friends know to come pull up. Any questions on the line? Any questions at all?
No, pretty good demo.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Raymond. I'm always interested in giving some insights into some new skills, and definitely want to encourage everybody to pull up and join us in our next community meeting. Our next meeting will be next Wednesday, and that will be May 16th at 6:00 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be online and having another tech talk, but also talking about the things that are going on in our community. And remember, if you are catching this on YouTube and or catching it afterwards, we are looking for anyone that's up for presenting anything they're working on. And also, I don't want to be the only one presenting and talking about all the stuff that I've been doing. I definitely want this to be a community engagement. So definitely want to encourage you to let us know if you have a topic that you want to cover, talk about, or show and tell, all the above. We're definitely looking forward to it. All right.
Okay.
All right. So that gets us to the end of our conversation today. And definitely come and holler at us. We are the Tech Hustle. We are building a community. Why not follow along and join us? Yeah. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see y'all next.
All right. See you next Thursday.